listening to the Ice Prep Podcast. Here's your hosts, Brian and Pat.
Welcome, everyone, to Ice Prep Podcast. We're continuing the trend from last year when we used to just do this audio only. I don't think it's snowing right now, but it was coming down earlier when we would have been recording.
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. For those just joining us, when we first started this, it was audio only. Now we record if you want to see how horrendous I look. Pat looks great with his mustache going on. Every single Thursday that we would record, once like November hit, it would snow, no matter what, every time.
Yeah, there was no, and sometimes it was, I remember being like, it's not even supposed to snow today, and it's snowing. That's super friggin' weird. And then it'd be like, we're not going to record on Thursday. We're going to record like midday or like a lunchtime on Friday, and it would snow. It's just, yeah. Apparently, when we record, it just snows.
Apparently, when you name yourself Ice Prep, it likes to snow when you record. Who would have thought?
Reminds you, yeah.
What a fun week of the NHL since we've last talked, Pat. The Devils still haven't lost. This win streak's still going. Currently stands at 10 games as we speak, which gives them the longest in the league because, as we all predicted, Vegas lost their win streak to the St. Louis Blues and then proceeded to lose their very next game again.
Yeah,
against San Jose.
St. Louis has decided that they remembered how to play hockey because they won against Colorado, and it was a good game. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I've said some pretty colorful things about the St. Louis crew there, but Binnington didn't act like an idiot, which, that's a big win for him.
Yeah, because the Blues were they had the worst record in the league. They had the worst loss streak in the league. They have turned that around with 4 wins, and they are definitely a case of look out because they're coming back even tonight as we're recording.
They had to find their groove, and like that's what we were saying about Ottawa, and I think Ottawa has to win 41 of their next games, just as a heads up, to make it into the projected cutoff line of 100 points. So good luck there.
Keep DJ Smith. Your chances of Bedard go up exponentially is a lot of what I'm hearing.
I don't even think that Smith is really the issue. I still stand by the fact that it's just finding the right fit and finding what works. The only thing that I could see that DJ Smith could really work on is just line pairings. He might need to shake it up a little bit further, try a couple extra different things, but he shouldn't get into what he did when he was with the Leafs, or at least I don't know if he did it or not, but stop this whole let's spin the wheel. This is who your line mate is on the third and fourth line. Like, it's hard to build chemistry if you continually change who you're supposed to be building chemistry with. And I'm looking at Colorado as well. They're really bad for that right now. They can't find a third and fourth line, and it's starting to pan out. But like any team that is just doing that roulette, you're going to run into chemistry issues, because how can you do it if you're not playing with the same person every single time?
Well, and the thing is, you look at Ottawa, we'll talk about this more after, but they have the third best line in the league for expected goals for in Stützle, Giroux, and Tkachuk. And funny enough, also at 25 is Stützle, Tkachuk, Batherson. So they have and their second line is good, don't get me wrong, but they're almost so top heavy, it's like the reverse buoy in the ocean, how it's so bottom heavy that it keeps everything afloat. It's the reverse of that, but all the weight's at the top, so it can't balance, and they just tip over and collapse because of it. They don't have their best defenseman, which means they have a rookie putting up 26 minutes a night, which, I mean, the younger guys can do that.
Really good though.
But
I watched the game last night, and he was doing all the little things right. He was
Sanderson, right?
Yeah, he's looking really good. He's starting to be a part of the conversation, at least at this point in time, about the Calder, because his points numbers are going up. Everything, he's looking good, and I mean, which is great. That's what you want. Like, that's what they needed in Ottawa is to have like some defensemen start to shine again, because you look at Carlson,
Yeah,
you look
and
at Shabbat, you look at, I don't know, other people on the team, but I don't know any other
so
Ottawa players that were defensemen.
here's a good thing when it comes to Ottawa, because we knew that there was going to be goaltending issues.
Yeah.
Well, let's play a fun game, Pat. I may have just given it away though. Name the
Forsberg.
only team not in a playoff position that has a positive goal differential.
Well, it's Ottawa.
Yeah, they are 29th in the league. Every other team in a playoff position has a positive goal differential. It's only one, but it's still enough that like it's there.
No.
They can score.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Who?
There is one team that does not have a positive.
Is it zero?
The LA Kings. The LA Kings are playing net zero hockey, where they are not scoring more or less. They are somehow winning games without scoring more points than the other team.
Semantics, Pat. My point still stands that like they've put up 55 goals, which means they've put up more goals than Tampa Bay, than New York, than Toronto, than Florida, than Carolina, Colorado, Seattle, which is weird that they're way up there. The Ottawa Senators can score. They're not getting saves, or it's just their games are the same as last year, where it's just like all of the goals all the time and they end up losing. So that's the thing that they have to figure out. If they can get that fixed and turned around quickly, the rumors out there is Ottawa is literally waiting for Vancouver to fire their coach and they're going to bring in Bruce. So who knows? But that's a lot to do. If you're also trying to get a new ownership group, which we know one could potentially be Ryan Reynolds, the other is two OHL team owners who have a combined like $6 or $7 billion between the two of them. So there's a lot going on in Ottawa. Their games are still ridiculously fun to watch, though, because no lead is safe, no matter who has it.
Yep. Yeah, no, and that was the same last year, and you know, it's I don't know. Obviously, I was wrong with my prediction that they were going to be a fifth place team. I don't think there's much left. There's not much of a chance for them to come back, in my opinion. They're going to show what they did the last, I think, 2 seasons, where in late January, early February, they're going to be like, oh, no, we got this. We're good. We stored all of our energy, and now we're going to expel it now, and all the other teams are tired, and win all of these games, and it will be fruitless.
It's like Buffalo. They start hot, and now they are 7-10. They were sitting near the top of the Atlantic. Now they're second last in the Atlantic. They've lost 7 straight. And they're about to have so much snow that people are like, is hockey going to happen on Saturday night? The Buffalo Bills game got moved to Ford Field in Detroit because they're saying like potentially at minimum 2 feet of snow is going to fall in Buffalo, which is crazy that it could be upwards of 6 feet. Like, we think we get snow here. London has nothing. Like, I can remember Buffalo snowstorms. They look at us and they're like, yeah, you got a foot, did you? We just got that the last hour.
The fact that it is going to snow as much as I am tall.
Potentially, yeah. That's
nuts.
The thing you sent me is there was 2 players that would have played in that game if it happened. That if they were
not just 2 players, the 2 running backs.
Yeah,
Singletary and Nick Chubb.
all you would see if it was like one of those hypothetical situations where all the snow is there on the field and they're there, it would just be like little puffs of snow because they would be under it with the potential amount of snow.
It would be like my parents have a corgi, and when it snows a lot, he has to like burrow through the snow, and you just kind of see like the snow moving a little. That's 100% what it would be. There'd be corgis on the field, and then you would just see like the edges of the visors looking over the top. Oh, I would pay an absurd amount of money to see that happen. I want somebody to just be like, I will give every player $2 million to play this one game. in the snow.
There was literally a snowball in the past, and it was actually these two teams, the Bills and the Browns, and it's gone down in history as like the dumbest game ever. Apparently, Buffalo's already getting hammered by the snow. By the way, Mark Robinson, who's the best storm hunter that Ontario has to offer, he's there tweeting videos out right now. He's like, "This is a great snowstorm, but also dangerous." And all the meteorologists, so if you follow any of them on Twitter, if it still exists by the time you hear this, they're all loving it because there could be the rare, I can't remember
Thundersnow?
Yes, I couldn't remember the proper term.
Thundersnow, when there's a thunderstorm in a snowstorm, it's very, very rare. We
had one around here recently.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it's pretty cool. Like it's a pretty cool experience because the sound, because it echoes and dampens at the same second. It's the weirdest feeling. It's because it's a feeling. It's not really. It's hard to describe, and that's why it's so cool. It's such a bizarre experience. But
for those of you who tuned in for hockey, yes, ice prep sometimes mean we talk about snow. It's twice already in this episode.
But so speaking of being put on ice, crappy segue. That's my new jingle. The entirety of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, yeah. I was like, okay, where's he going with this?
I feel so bad for this team. I had really high hopes for them. I thought that this year they're gonna look better. As much as obviously I ragged on them about Johnny Gaudreau. I think that was an overpayment, everything like that. I'm not saying he's not I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't think he's valued at that level personally, but that's just me. However, they are currently rocking, and some of these might be back. I don't have a list that shows whether or not they've recovered from this or not, but looking from November 10th to November 15th, these are the names that are out. Eric Branson, he is upper body injury day-to-day. Kent Johnson, undisclosed day-to-day. Sean Corrali, upper body out. Jacob Voracek, upper body out. Nick Blankenberg, one of the rookies, ankle out.
That's a fake name if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I know. Blankenberg sounds like a somebody that you would make in like a random generator. Like it would be like you were playing franchise mode and it's just like, I don't know, Blankenberger. But yeah, Zach Werenski, you already have the thumb up for him. That's a shoulder labrum, and he is out. He is out for the year. Yep. Patrick Laine, he has an ankle sprain. He is out for a couple weeks. Elvis Merzlikins, he is out. Lower body day-to-day. Jake Bean, one of their like good pickups in the offseason. He is out. Upper body day-to-day. Not to mention just other people. Like I think Adam Boqvist, I think he's still out potentially. And then there was another one too. Boone Jenner's back. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, and then Gustav Nyquist, I think.
So for those not watching,
no, it's Texier. Texier is he's taking a leave. So you have 10.
For those not watching, I don't have enough fingers for how many starting players the Columbus Blue Jackets don't have right now. It's like we've seen seasons like this when it was COVID.
Yeah.
Like this is just bad luck piling on bad luck. Like the season, it's already gone at this point for Columbus. Yeah. They're looking ahead to next year, as weird as that sounds. They've played 15 games. Their season is over. They know it is. They're going to play to just get Bedard. Because if Bedard somehow ends up between Laine and Gaudreau, that could end up being the craziest line in the league almost immediately. So
I just don't want him to go to Columbus. I don't want Connor Bedard in Ohio. Boo! Sorry to anybody that's in Ohio, but you understand. Like, you're there. You can be like, yeah, you're right. Like,
it was the worst place to drive through. It going down south, the absolute worst place. If you haven't, like, poor Columbus, at least they've got 5 wins on the year. So they've got the same amount as Vancouver and Anaheim. So they've got that going for them. But the season, you can already wrap them up as
Yeah.
probably last place in the Metro. Um, and then not too far above them, Pittsburgh, Washington, Philly. So it's not looking good. And we know Anaheim's in the hunt for Bedard, Arizona. It's Anaheim's different though, because they're having a year.
They haven't won yet.
Anaheim's having a year that's going to be they're starting to make their way back up. They've got the players coming, but they won't have
won
a
in regulation. They haven't won in regulation. They have won 5 games, and they have won all 5 of those games in overtime, which, like, good for them for sticking with it and winning it. However,
that's ridiculous. I didn't know that, actually. Wait,
super duper important.
I gotta...
Unless one happened.
Nope, they've got 0 RW, which is regulation wins.
There you go. So
wow.
They have played 15 games. Am I right saying that, or is it
16?
16 games and no wins in regulation.
And they've lost a regulation plus overtime wins. So yeah, 3 overtime, which means 3 overtime wins, 2 shootout wins, Pat.
Oh my god. I mean, I know that they weren't going to do well. I thought they were going to do at least a little better, not this. This is bad.
That's worse than I thought it was. Like, the fact that they're not ending games, those wins in regulation, unless they're comebacks, I'd have to look in. But like, Anaheim and Columbus are speed running their way to that 32nd spot for the highest odds.
Yeah, and I think. I mean, I've said it before that I think that I would really, really, really think it would be good for hockey, for the entire NHL, if Bedard was paired with Trevor Zegras. I think that would be, just, the story writes itself. You've got these 2 kids that are just out there to have fun. One version of fun is to ruin the lives of every single person on the ice, while also being like the size of their children. And then the other one is just there to have fun and do weird stuff with the puck. Like,
I legitimately don't know who was who when you were describing that, by the way.
Right? So it doesn't matter. Either way, it's fun. Whereas Columbus is just like, he's going to pass it to Laine, or he's going to pass it to Gaudreau, or he's going to put it like.
I think no matter where he ends up, if he wants to succeed, we've seen it. He's got to play selfishly. Obviously, you can't do the same things you do in junior that you do in the NHL, but McDavid comes in. Everybody was like, he can't play that way in the NHL, and he played that way and still does in the NHL. Matthews comes in. They were like, you're not going to be able to score like that in the NHL. Yeah, you did it over in Europe. That's not the NHL. He comes in, scores 4 goals his first game, gets 60 goals, 60 plus last year. Some of these kids coming in are just that good. And Bedard is legitimately looking like that. Like, the first time since Matthews went first overall, where the first overall is looking like a generational, like, change of franchise type of player.
Yeah. Now, there's something that's kind of like tickling my mind, and it has been for the past couple days. Because I don't think, and I might be wrong here, I think one team is going to do something drastic to try and take that first. They're going to put themselves in.
No way, like, to trade for it?
I think they're going to do a bold move to trade to get into the lottery at a higher spot than where they're going to end up.
Because I thought you meant to go after, like, the team that wins the lottery. It was like, nobody's giving up that.
I don't know. They might. Because I think, I'm guessing New Jersey scored.
Sorry for those Devils. Just won it in overtime. So the Devils' win streak is at 11. Igor Sharangovich. Sorry, I'm trying something that I was saying to myself. I didn't say to you want to do less talking about games that are happening, but Devils 11 in a row. Matt Murray made it so that the Leafs didn't get blown out.
And just before we end this topic, Colorado is also playing currently against the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are currently out shooting Colorado 43-13. So it's somehow tied 2-2.
Well, I
So
guess
good
that's
on
what
Georgiev.
happens when you've got the fourth best defensive pairing for expected
Yeah.
goals for in the league on the ice and Toes Makar, which amazing that it's not the first overall. Anyway, sorry. As you were
Anyways,
saying,
so what I was saying is for a while I've been kind of thinking about Seattle. And what Seattle has been doing has been collecting picks, and they have been trying to build a team. They're trying to build a legacy. And they know the only way for them to move forward is to get top tier talent. They need to do things to bring people to the game and make sure that it keeps going. You look at Vegas, they've created an experience. Seattle needs to do the same. And the only way for them to do that, because they don't have the proper branding, because they keep dropping the ball, is to bring in generational talent. So they went for Shane Wright. If he pans out, he could be. Matty Beignets, he is going to look really, really good. That's going to be a top tier talent.
Morgan Geeky's starting to play better.
Morgan, exactly. So you've got these young kids. They're going to be building this young team. Currently, they have their first round draft pick in 2023. Obviously, they're not going to get rid of that as young as they are. They're not the Vegas Golden Knights. Come on. Then they have 3 second round picks in 2023.
Their own, the Leafs, and Winnipeg.
So that is 3 bargaining chips that they could package together with their current first. And this is going to be a deep, deep, deep draft.
So it's going to be one of those, I don't think it's going to be quite like the NHL games where you can like package off to get picks, because there's a lot of people saying that, yeah, you've got the one is Bedard is this whole other level. There's the chance that what draft year was it? I can't remember, the one that had Martyr and all of that and the Devils whiffed. But like 2 through 7 or 8 is all high caliber players. So yeah, I think you're right. I just don't know. It's.
Do you know what I think is going to happen?
Doesn't Arizona have a few in the first round again next year, though?
I think they're going to package either the first or their 3 seconds and Shane Wright. And they're going to try and move up because they are playing him poorly, and they're going to make it this like reclamation project. This is my wild take. I think that is going to be what we see. I think that we are going to see a team that's going to make a ridiculous move at the trade deadline to sell the farm, to bring in a talent that will do everything to change it. You look at what Connor Bedard is doing in the WHL. He is selling out every single arena that he goes to. I saw it on one of the broadcasts when I was watching a game. Every single one has been sold out. He has not played to an empty barn this entire season. It is unprecedented. No one has seen this in NHL or in WHL history. This kid is going to sell tickets.
Yep. But I honestly, you don't trade. The only way you trade Shane Wright is if you legitimately end up like guaranteeing at a high odds that Bedard comes back. You don't trade that early. It's
if you don't have a spine, you don't trade that early. And that's the NHL, so it won't happen.
I'm just trying to look to see because I'm trying to find out which teams have more than one first round pick. Looks like the Rangers are potentially one of them. Chicago and Anaheim, I believe, all have extra first round draft picks, and Montreal. Sorry, so there's 4 teams. So that's there are a few teams that stand a chance, but I do agree in that I think we will see some crazy trades happen just for picks. But if you're in the position, Seattle, to go for the playoffs, you can't leverage your future like that when you have good players now, unless they're still going for way down the line. But I honestly agree, though, that we will see some potential EA NHL style moves to try and get in that top 10 this year.
But think about it though. Shane Wright, they picked him, and clearly it didn't pan out like everyone was saying it was going to. Obviously, the people 1 through 3, they saw that. Maybe it was ego, whatever it is. So they picked him. And now they're seeing, okay, well, this wasn't what we wanted. We wanted him to be a 2C almost right out of the gate. Second line center, right behind Beignets. So why not trade a first that's already eligible to play and just needs to work on his game to get there, and their first for the top C? They don't need all 3 of them. So go for it. Go for it. Make the bold move. Because you're not trading away your future.
This isn't the NBA though. And here's the thing.
But they're not trading away their future, because he's not their future. If they're able to get Connor Bedard to replace him, that's a good trade.
Everybody forget Shane Wright is still a teenager. Very few, like legitimately few. No, you don't get rid of a player like Shane Wright. Unless, like, if you can guarantee Bedard, but no team in their right mind. Peter Chiarelli is not a GM in the NHL anymore. No GM in the NHL currently, he wouldn't do it. No GM is trading.
He wouldn't want him.
The only team that, like, there's zero chance that whoever gets that first overall pick trades it. You could not offer any player in the NHL. Unless maybe McDavid. That's like the only player, potentially.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. So then what if Dubas said, I've had enough of Matthews. Arizona, he's all yours for your guaranteed first round draft pick, first overall.
I don't think Arizona does it.
You don't think that they wouldn't take Matthews to his hometown or to his home state?
No, because they would have to sign him to like $14-15 million. You think the Coyotes want to do that?
Money. Yeah. They would sell tickets.
They only have to sell 2,000 anyway.
I know, but even still, they could sell more expensive tickets. I'm saying, I think that's feasible.
I can tell you've been playing a lot of NHL lately because you're like,
I haven't. I've been playing NBA. It's different. Those are wild trades.
Well, they're like wild trades in real life too in the NBA.
But you're saying that if you were GM of Toronto right now, you're sitting in Dubas's chair.
They'd never allow it though.
And the opportunity of, we will give you Connor Bedard, the guaranteed first overall draft pick.
Arizona would,
but you have to give us Toronto. I'm just saying, they call you and they give you that. Are you telling me you would keep a hold of Matthews over bringing in Connor Bedard?
I mean, that would have to happen at the trade deadline, or not at the trade deadline, at the draft floor. And I guess if you're not bringing Matthews back, or he's not going to re-sign, you risk it. But at the same time, I mean, if the Leafs are out of the first round again, or they don't make the playoffs, he's not there to do that trade. Everybody knows that come draft lottery, if the Leafs are not at minimum, I'm going to say third round, second round's not enough, Dubas is fired. Fired, but he's not getting another contract. So I just legitimately cannot see whoever gets that first overall pick trading it for anything. Like the same thing I remember happening when the Oilers won the McDavid lottery. Everybody was like, yeah, and it's not going to happen. You're not trading away a player that is supposed to come around every like 15, 20 years. Well, just happen to have them 10 years apart.
Now, here's the thing, though. Like you just said, 10 years apart. So you had Crosby and you had Ovechkin. Those are two generational talents. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. I may not be Crosby's biggest fan, but he is. Then you've also got McDavid, not too far behind.
That was almost 10 years.
Exactly. Not too far behind. Generational talent. Then now you've got Connor Bedard, not too far behind. Then you've got the next couple people who are coming up that are getting exceptional status.
But we've seen exceptional status players that don't do anything with it. That's the issue.
It's getting rarer. Or it's getting less rare to have these talents that are coming in that are blowing the socks off of people. I think we're going to see more and more.
Some of them can do that at the lower level. And the second that, like he did that in a league that, and then jumped up in ways that you're not supposed to. Yes, they are coming, but the top, like the upper echelon of talent is still incredibly rare.
Yeah.
And but you don't, could you imagine? So Makar plays, he does the playoffs, he plays really well, and you see how good he is. A team approaches Colorado and they're like, yeah, we'll give you the first overall pick for Makar. You'd be like, no, doesn't matter who it is. I'm pretty sure that would have ended up being the Jack Hughes draft. You're like, no, I want Makar.
Yeah, I wouldn't, no.
Even if it's Owen Power, you're like, no, I want Makar.
If it's Bedard, I would go, no, hang on a second. What more can you give me? I need a pick on top of it.
Yeah. See, I
would consider it.
In the NHL, the first overall pick does not get traded.
I know. I know it's a pipe dream. I'm aware of it, but at the same time, there needs to be something like that, because the NHL has become stagnant in that sense, where it's just the most expected things keep happening. Yes, the hockey in the game is good, but
as long as Gary Bettman controls the NHL, no fun is allowed. Yeah. We're not allowed to have best on best hockey.
Come
so
on.
I was listening to Steve Dangle podcast and Adam Wilde talking about, by the time that the World Cup of Hockey happens, if it does, it will be 10 years between McDavid wearing a Canada jersey and playing for Canada. That I very close to drop the first F-bomb on this podcast, because hockey fans are being robbed. Here, fans of European countries, European fans, they are being robbed of seeing some of their best talent not being showcased internationally. Team Finland right now, if they're healthy, has a chance of being one of the best teams on the planet. Same with Sweden. Switzerland would actually be highly competitive. Denmark, they'd get knocked out, but they've got some of the best players on the planet right now.
Yeah.
And we don't get to see it. Like, we saw Finland win the Olympics with Leo Komarov doing his thing. But like, there wasn't NHLers there. It's
beyond disappointing. Like,
everything
there's no words
Hockey Canada aside, because that is just a whole other thing. The fact that we have not had even a Canada versus US just exhibition, go crazy, here's some of the best players on the planet.
I know.
How is he still leading the NHL? Oh, I know, because the NHLPA is the dumbest union on the planet.
Yeah, they're equally as bad.
Oh no, they're worse.
Yeah. It's boo, Colorado lost. That's fine.
And overtime, you got the pity point.
Exactly. 48 shots on goal, 3 goals. That's okay. Francouz was in net, actually, so good for him.
You take that pity point and you say thank you, Frankie.
Well, and not to mention, Francouz has been struggling a little bit, so it's good to see that even though he lost, that's a big game for him. That's a lot of shots. Clearly Colorado let him down. 15 shots, that's not enough for any team. But it's funny because Antti Raanta is going to have the worst, out of the two, he's going to look worse because he's going to have a worse save percentage because he let in 2 goals on 15 shots. You got to love
hockey in that way, eh? It's just one of those, it's the same, not quite as, the final thing talking about games happening. Lightning are up 3-1. They're being outshot 39-22 against Calgary right now.
Yikes. But, yeah, I don't know. It's going back to the World Cup of Hockey.
Ugh.
I didn't even get excited. That's the funny part. Like, I knew it was going to get canceled.
Oh, we all
As
did.
soon as I heard that it was just like, oh, they're going to do the World Cup of Hockey, I was like, cool. It's nice of them to string us along like that. Like, there was no chance. If I was a betting man, I would have put money on it being canceled before the end of the year, and I would have raked in money
And
easily.
Here's probably the reason why, because the NHL doesn't want to do it if they can't highlight their Russian players.
Yeah. Well, then just do Canada US. Done.
Exactly. Like Canada US, have them do a fun one. 32 Thoughts talked about this. I was like, why haven't they done it? You put the men and the women's team in say Toronto, and you do a best out of 3. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter where you play it.
In Banff. Put them in the friggin' mountains. Do the mountaintop hockey.
But you go best of the men play a best of 3. Best of the women play a best of 3. You go to Europe. You do Finland, Sweden. And like even those women's teams, they're starting to kick some butt. And those men's teams would be incredible. Like, why can't they do something like that? Because, they don't want to grow their game in a game that costs more and more money than every other sport on the planet to take part in. That is seeing
football.
More than football.
No,
Hockey
really?
costs so much more than football.
Oh yeah, I guess you have to replace sticks way too much, and sticks are so expensive. Yeah,
and you're seeing heavy decline in essentially every major hockey country except for the States. They're still getting players going in of kids taking it. The stuff with Hockey Canada is having a lot of parents being like, no, you're not playing hockey. The NHL is doing nothing to help its future. And
no,
it's tough to be a fan of this game when the people up top don't like it.
They just continually let you down. Like you're just like, wow, it's that meme of or the sign at a protest, and it was our expectations for you were already low, but holy yeah. It's just
it's literally the Arrested Development Don't Open Dead Dove. Oh.
I can't stand it. It sucks. I want people to enjoy hockey. I want to talk to more people about friggin' hockey. I don't want to have to come on a podcast and yell at people who I've never met about hockey. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't be like pulling teeth to talk to people who are major sports fans. I have a group of friends that are huge sports fanatics. Huge. That's all they talk about. And the only sport that I know inside and out is hockey. And I'll be like, oh, did you see that game? They're like, nah.
Like the fact that the last time we saw NHLers in the Olympics was 2014 in Russia says so much. And that wasn't even I don't even think I watched the gold medal game because we all knew what was going to happen. Canada was not going to lose that. There was no competition. And then before that, it was Vancouver. How can they see how even the B tier teams playing each other, they were sold out. Canada was watching them like crazy. Everybody was watching, and the NHL's like, no, nobody likes hockey. Oh, we've got all this extra money coming in. Yeah, no, let's not try and grow our game. I guess we can go over to Finland and Sweden and have these games, and then that's it.
Midday we don't even advertise and start the season without telling anyone.
I had no idea until you told me. I was like, wow, the Avalanche are playing an afternoon game. You're like, yeah, they're in Finland. I was like, what?
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad. Like, look, I'm not a marketing expert. It's just what I do for my job. The fact that I was on hockey Twitter so much and I saw maybe one thing from the NHL, like the actual official branded NHL account saying, hey, this is happening. And I'm pretty sure that was on the day of, and it was a Friday. They played a 4 p.m. or no, I'm sorry, I think it was a 2 or 3 p.m. game on a Friday, midday game, and I know that it was for Finland. But how do you not advertise this? How do you not talk about this?
And make it one of those like free to watch games off your website. People are sneaking it, watching, working from home, working in the office, and you get people talking about it. It's like, okay, do you know how many outdoor games there are this season, Pat? How many the NHL has planned?
Is it 3?
No, 2.
Ah, okay.
And Pittsburgh,
the
Boston.
teams are terrible. Okay.
And
Pittsburgh, Boston, that's fine.
And then Washington against Carolina, because Carolina was promised one way back when. But like even those, like,
well, last year's, come on, Tampa versus Nashville.
And then you had the Heritage Classic where the Buffalo Sabres beat the Leafs, which was just hilarious. But like these outdoor games,
good matchup.
The only good outdoor game that I can think of, there's 2. Sorry, I'll count 2 of these as one. That was Vegas, Colorado, and Flyers, Boston. Though that one game was a blowout at Lake Tahoe. That was a home run. Watching that, I remember messaging with you. Was like, this is amazing.
It was so sloppy, though. It was so bad.
They had to stop the game and then play it later because the sun was melting the ice.
Yeah, they're like, who would have thought it was warm in Lake Tahoe in the spring? It's like, everyone. If you asked anyone, I went there in the spring, and I snowboarded with no jacket on in the mountains. Like, what are you doing? That's the only time I've been there. And I was like, yeah, it's warm in the spring because it's the spring and we're in California. What?
So there's one other outdoor game that I think is even worth mentioning. Do you have any guess as to which one I'm thinking of? It's 2014.
That doesn't help me at all. I want to say it's probably the Leafs. Canadians? Yeah.
Leafs, Red Wings. Ann Arbor Stadium, okay. 105,000 people, snowing like crazy, shootout win. That was amazing because it was the atmosphere. It was at Ann Arbor. The NHL has a game that is played on ice. They have they did all these teasers for like outdoor hockey, playing it up north, and then they were like, no, let's go to Nashville. Baseball started doing Field of Dream games. They literally built a permanent stadium beside where it was filmed. They go there yearly and do that. You're telling me that
Mystery Alaska?
They haven't done. Do you know people who don't watch hockey regularly would tune in for that game?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why the mountain game. I know that there are logistical issues, and I understand that. I think everyone would love to see a hockey game in the mountains on that frozen lake that you see on
Lake
your
Louise.
Instagram feed. Is it Lake Louise, the one that's up there? I don't know.
NBC.
But even still, everyone would love to see that. That would be a logistical nightmare for all the power and the cable and it would be so difficult to do. But they don't have the money because they don't want to grow the game to bring in more money to be able to do these showcase games. You look at teams like Vegas who are doing things right. They're actually trying to put butts in seats. Every single game is borderline almost always sold out. They put on a show. They are creating a show on ice every game.
If they
Every
can
team
do
should
it,
be doing that.
If they can do one in Nevada at Lake Tahoe, they can do it anywhere. Honestly,
True. Yeah.
Do one at somewhere in Banff. You could get British Columbia would probably pay for the entirety of it if they're like, let us advertise. There's so many things with the NHL that the NBA was a bottom tier sports organization and they skyrocketed over everybody essentially. Like the NBA, their players still to this day dictate fashion for a lot of North America and how things trend. Running shoes, sneakers aren't as big if it's not without those players.
Mm-hmm.
Football, it had its downward trend, especially everything to do with concussions and what's it called?
Still.
the head trauma that the NHL's denying
Oh,
that hockey is.
CTE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're starting to come back up because they're getting the fan bases. They're doing it differently. In the States, you've got Amazon, who paid a fortune for Thursday Night Football. The only place you can watch it is online. Canadians can't watch it. Well, you can but like in the States, you can watch it for free online.
I think my favorite, but just a quick little pause. Every single game on Thursday has been god awful. It has been the worst. Not only is it the worst game that you've seen in a long time, minus the one you saw last week on Thursday, but
wasn't it 2 weeks in a row without a touchdown?
Or something like that. But like the Broncos, like put them in, yeah, they're gonna kill it, and then they send them over to England. It's just like, sorry to everyone who paid money to see Russell Wilson eat a sub. Like, come on, just awful. It makes me so happy though, and I guess the numbers are really good. Like everyone's watching it because they're like, well, at least
in the States, you literally just watch it online, and it's getting ridiculous numbers, and like. You've got the NFC East, whichever division has Eagles, Cowboys, and all them. They're all playing well right now. So football is getting back up there. Baseball just had the team that nobody wants to see win another title. But you've got Aaron Judge, who, they're treating a generational player and turning him into a star. It's kind of crazy. He just won AL MVP today. They announced that. Like, imagine the NHL doing more marketing for their best players than just a 2-second little highlight reel and showing an interview of them having no personality. Like, at least Zegras is forcing it. But baseball is getting bigger than ever, and they're doing things to improve the game. They're putting in the pitch clock. They're putting in all of this. They're going to a little bit more robo-umps so that the humans can stop messing up the game. The NHL, what if they improved? They made the boards digital ads, and it distracts from the game. Yeah.
And, like, players disappear into it. The other thing that's really frustrating is you have so in the NHL, there is a player that has huge personality, just oozes it, has highlight reel goals, had a little bit of controversy in the offseason, and is playing out of his friggin' mind. He is so good. He is the best player on their team. Do you know who I'm speaking of?
No.
Jason Robertson.
Ah, yes. Yep.
He is like the little otter that he hand drew with the little cowboy hat, and Dallas uses it every single time there's a win. He is so talented. He is so good. Do you even know how many points Jason Robertson has?
He's up there. He's near the top of the league right now, I'm pretty sure. But like the NHL has a problem, and it's the NHL. And funny enough, this is not the first time we've complained about this. Jason Robertson, is tied for third with Rant and Pasta.
Yeah, this kid is playing out of his mind. No one is talking about him. Not a soul. And the controversy over the break was he was holding out for a contract because Dallas wasn't meeting him halfway.
And
so
he's underpaid.
He's underpaid. He also missed all of camp. He missed all of camp and came in and is doing what he is currently doing. He is playing at the same level as some all-stars that you will never stop hearing about, and no one is talking about him. Everyone is talking about like Connor McDavid, and I understand why. He's killing it, but he's got the personality of a wet paper bag. He's so boring. Put the mic in front of a kid that's actually entertaining. You did it with Zegras. You can do it with more than one child. Come on.
Yeah, the NHL has an NHL problem.
They're their own worst enemy.
It's so evident every passing year. And like we know, okay, when is the next CBA up? Okay, set your watch for the next lockout because we all know what's going to happen because Gary Bettman will ensure that the owners make even more money on top of all this extra $750 million that was just brought in and essentially put into the pockets of these owners. So reason why they pay him like $20 million a year.
He tried to make it look like he was doing things, and he did a couple things. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not that his accomplishments are zero. However, his list of things that he has royally screwed up is super big. And the fact that he is still like, nah, pay me more for 5 more years. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's sign you on
Well,
for another
of
5 years.
course, of course, the owners want that. They're making more money than ever. He's put forth a outline that is like, here's how much more money I'm going to get you. Yeah, you might not have hockey again for a year, but guess what? We'll get you even more money because the NHLPA is very dumb and I can do whatever I want because it
I
doesn't
can hold
matter.
them hostage. That's the thing.
He's done it
He
3
can,
times already.
yeah, he can just say, I'm not going to. You guys have to bend because I won't.
And the players have
I'll
been
talk to you
forced to
later.
every single time.
Yeah, because he won't negotiate. He says, this is what we're doing. Everyone goes, that's dumb. And he's like, well, too bad. This is what we're doing. And until you're ready to agree to it, hockey's canceled. Bye.
The only thing we may have going for us this time is that because
He's
a lot
old.
of the stars are younger now, it's before, because it's back in some of the previous lockouts, the best and biggest players in the league were usually in their mid to early to mid 30s. That was considered the prime, and that's the best. And that was when they just started to finally make their money. Kids now coming out of their ELC are getting paid big. They're going to be like, no, you need us, because this might be the first time, depending on who is representing the players themselves, of the players, where we could see hopefully some pushback. I hope. I mean, I'm hoping that, and I know I'm wrong, which sucks.
Well, so this is what Bettman's response to, no, without us, there's nothing. And he goes, no, without me, there's nothing. So
Please
I'm
save
not
us,
moving.
Ryan Reynolds.
Like, it's 100, like he can just say, yeah, but, and then also he can be like, I don't care. I keep making money.
Yep.
And I've made so much money, and I'm like 70 something years old. So I don't care. This is all just gravy money now. So go have fun. I'm still going to get paid. Bye. Bettman, the worst thing to the NHL since Sidney Crosby. So,
I thought you were gonna say the
Minnesota Wild?
offside rule with why can't I think of his name?
Matt
He plays.
Duchene.
Yeah, thank you. He ruined hockey forever. Way to go, Avalanche.
Yeah, the Avalanche are the cause of most of the issues in the league, if you did not know.
It's
So,
true.
yeah.
Do you have your air horn ready, Pat?
Oh, I can.
Yeah, because
I
I was here's how most of my day went, as Pat finds that. I was helping set up a 12+ foot Christmas tree that had most of the lights out, so we had to restring lights on it at work. That was most of my day.
Oh, see, and
So I didn't grab
I
the
just
audio.
did work. So,
Oh, I did work too, but that was part of my day.
but as Brian has asked me to do so, it is time for the games of the week. Woo! So,
I like our production value we have here.
yeah, it's just top tier. So last week we were gonna run through what we did. Brian, you had a Sunday evening game.
Yeah.
It was Winnipeg at Seattle, and Winnipeg took that one. That was a good game for you.
A little bit of controversy there too, because Seattle was dominating that game. Susie at the end does the Conor McGregor punch to the old dude at the bar, just like blindsides Pierre-Luc Dubois. Jets score with 4 seconds left on the power play, send it to overtime. Scheifele wins it in OT. The Jets are kind of looking a little scary right now, and I don't know if it'll keep going, but it might be one of those years where we're looking at Winnipeg all the time being like, yeah, that could be a potential game of the week.
No, because it's Winnipeg, and Winnipeg sucks. To put it really not at all
Very blunt.
douchey. Yeah, no, that was a good game. I really was deeply upset to see Winnipeg take that. Just because it just didn't feel right. Watching them win it, I was like, ugh, gross. This feels gross. Um, but yes, so that was your pick. My pick was a Saturday game. It was Pittsburgh in Montreal. That was also an overtime game. Montreal takes it 5-4. So pretty high scoring game. I was just like, before we started recording this, I was like, I don't even remember this game. I looked at who scored just now, and I do remember snippets of it. It was a good game. It was a messy game. It wasn't pretty at all. I just these were two teams that should one team that should be good and one team that was expected to be bad, and both of them played pretty poorly. But 9 goals, why not? That's worth the admission. So
Hey, that's fun on a Saturday night in Montreal.
exactly. So Pittsburgh just regretting re-signing Malkin and Letang. So there you go.
Not Crosby though. He's killing it.
Well, that's what he does.
He's Mr. Consistent.
Yep.
For this week, I did have another game in mind, but it changed in the last half hour or so. So mine is now on Wednesday night,
Wednesday.
7:00, as the Toronto Maple Leafs make their way to Newark, New Jersey, to take on the Devils. Of course, Devils just got their 11th win in a row. There is the chance that they could be going for win number 13, or it's they play Saturday, so or do they play Saturday? I feel like I should know this. Yes, so they have Senators on Saturday, Oilers on Monday, and then the Leafs again on Wednesday. So it would be if they go into this game still on the win streak. If they were to win that, they set a new franchise record, or who knows, maybe a loss streak, blah, blah, blah. But it's a rematch of a game that Matt Murray absolutely kept the Leafs in.
Well, so here's the thing, though. With that game, if they're still on the streak, they're for sure going to win. Because it's Toronto, and that's just how.
That's why it's a great game.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they still have that streak going, because that'd be really awesome to see. It's good to see a team that was questionable. There was people that were like, they're gonna kill it, and there's people that are like, you are high. So
it was all about goaltending, and we're getting goaltending. Vitek Vanacek is 8-1 this year now.
Yeah, good for him.
Is killing it,
proving that Washington goalies weren't the issue. It's the people in front that are 9,000 years old. You can't expect Ovi to carry a team when he barely can carry himself.
Barry Trotz wasn't the problem?
Huh. No.
Pat,
any hoodles.
Your game of the week?
My game of the week is on Saturday. I just keep picking Saturday games. And I have gone with a 10 p.m. game because I'm that person. And it is Vegas versus Edmonton. Dun, dun, dun. That is going to be a hell of a game. That is going to be a lot of speed, but also paired with a lot of slow, because Vegas is both slow and fast. They're big. They hit hard. They play really, really well. You've got really good goaltending on one end, and you've got shaky goaltending if Campbell's in net, or you've got Skinner who's killing it. Hopefully they put Skinner in. This is the top team, I guess, and against Edmonton. It's a division rival. They've got so much bad blood between the two of the teams. It will be a very, very good game, plain and simple. This game will not be a low-scoring affair because there is going to be nothing but firepower. And you've got Eichel versus McDavid, which is always a good showcase. Eichel
and
versus
it's been a
whoever.
while.
Yeah, he has not played him very consistently. So this will be a lot of fun to see. I think that it might be worth, if you're up, just have it on in the background. I think you will have a really good time, at least for the first period, if you're going to be up until like 11:30. So,
and by the way, that will be Phil the Thrill's 1,001 consecutive game tonight for Phil Kessel. Is game 1,000 in a row of the Ironman streak. I forgot to grab it, but go take a look at the custom jersey that the players got for him. It's pretty awesome looking.
Okay, I'll have to take a
No,
gander at it.
it's
Yeah.
actually really cool looking. Maybe if I can, nah, I won't pull it up right now. But yeah, go find that. I have to pull up your Movember page here, Pat, so
Sure,
that
I
we can
will
do that.
ramble while you do that. So, November, we are about halfway through. We are having, yeah, oh,
There we
I'm
go.
really struggling with my words right now. We are about halfway through November. Um, I have set out to raise a bunch of money, double my numbers from last month. I've hit the mid-month plateau. That's pretty normal. But even still, I am growing out the stash, trying to keep this as short as humanly possible without losing just all respect from people that are near me. And also walking. I have started picking up my pace on hitting 60 kilometers walked, and I'm hopeful to really smash that and go a lot further. And it's all for raising money for mental health, specifically men's mental health for this, but mental health just in general is important. Right now is one of the more difficult times. I've heard so many stories lately, and it's deeply upsetting how many stories I've heard of people that are struggling, to the point of just even loss of life. And it's just heartbreaking. There should be no stigma around it. We should be talking about it all the time. You should be reaching out to friends. You should be doing all of these things. And that's why I keep participating with Movember, because they are doing good things for raising awareness for mental health, men's mental health. It's one of the hardest conversations for men to have, just because of all the stigmas, all of the awful toxic masculinity that you are suffering through as you grow up, and just all the awful old patriarchal, I'm so terrible with that word, but things that are ingrained in you as a child. I know it's all sounds like buzzword lefty. I don't care. It's all true, believe it or not, but it's true, and it is heartbreaking. So please donate if you're able to. If you're not, reach out to your friends. If you can donate, still reach out to your friends and just make sure that they are okay. Mental health matters, and especially when the days are getting shorter and night shows up early and you're like, I thought it was 4:30, not midnight. So just take care. It's as simple as that. And yeah, if you can donate, it's on the screen. That'd be awesome. I'd super appreciate you guys. If not, then just be good to people.
The only thing I will add to this is it's really nice to see that Movember evolved from just being, as it started just about prostate cancer awareness for men, and how
Yep.
it's become and evolved. It's not just that anymore. It is um, very quickly, and it took over November very quickly. So it's good that they've been a good lead on this. So you can scan this QR code to go to Pat's page. You can see his lovely picture there. Showed off that you're at 33 kilometers. We better not get more snow, or you're going to be trudging through the snow, Pat.
Oh, I have no problem. I love walking in the snow. It's so satisfying and so calming. It could be minus 40, but if there's snow on the ground, I'm fine.
On that note, we will finish their talk again next week. Who knows? Devils could still be winning on a winning streak at that point, which is weird. Who knows? Maybe the Avs could start a winning streak.
No.
Maybe Columbus can win another game because they ended up winning tonight. Tune in, find out. Yeah, they won tonight.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Yeah. Bye, Pat.
Okay. Bye.